This is Eric Vaughn coming to you from Washington, D.C. My backdrop right now is the Capitol Christmas tree. It's just beautiful here in Washington this time of year. You know, this is my end of the year report, which is always interesting for me. I hope you find it interesting as well, because it gives you a chance to sort of reflect on what we went through this past year, accomplishments, challenges, the good, the bad, and maybe not so ugly, but maybe not exactly what we'd like to see all the time. This year, we coined a phrase, NASTA delivers results. And we did that to draw attention to the fact that the NASTA board of directors, NASTA committees and members, and the NASTA staff, we are all focused on making the structured settlements industry stronger, more professional, and respected across the board. A number of the things we took on this year, one came out even before the year got started. Literally on Christmas Eve, we learned that the Internal Revenue Service decided to drop a generic legal advice memorandum, or GLAM, on all of us, sort of a little holiday gift. Well, we didn't take it as a holiday gift. We took it initially as a very serious threat and challenge to something that we've been providing to attorneys in the form of legal structured settlement of attorney fees for a long, long time. We debated how to get started, but we did get started on Christmas Eve. Tacker LaCarpentier, the board of directors, our counsel, outside counsel, and we worked straight for 3-4 weeks to produce the definitive industry response to the GLAM. The response was delivered to all of our members, but also, more importantly, to the Internal Revenue Service, who assured us during the course of our meetings, attorney fee structures are not under IRS attack. The GLAM addresses an untested tax-deferred product, not traditional attorney fees. But the working with our attorneys to focus attention on the GLAM issue opened up an opportunity for us that, quite frankly, we had let lapse with the departure of Mike Matamuro at the IRS. So we re-engaged with the IRS professionally over the course of several meetings, responding to their questions, but more importantly, delivering to them information about the modern, effective, and responsive structured settlements industry. It's been a tremendously powerful dialogue that we've reestablished, and I'm so happy that we did that. The ink wasn't quite dry on the GLAM response when our Steve Harris, the legal committee chair, and working with Pete Vidola, persuaded the NASTA board to file an amicus curiae in the Cordero matter. And the amicus brief focused on how the language of SSPAs puts the duty squarely on factoring companies and judges to determine whether proposed factoring transactions are appropriate. That was incredibly important, incredibly valuable for industry, and we persuaded the court, and the court actually did rule in our favor on that issue. You know, we spend a great deal of time talking about allies, strategic partnerships. This past year has seen an absolute flowering of those partnerships, if you will. The National Consumers League, we have never had a better, stronger, more active consumer league friend than we do in the National Consumers League. Sally Greenberg and her team have been tremendous supporters. This year saw for the first time that the structured settlements industry, our main objectives, our points of activity, our leadership issues are prominently displayed on the National Consumers League website for all of their 14 million members to read, review, share, and work with us on Capitol Hill. The American Association of People with Disabilities continues to be literally our strongest ally on Capitol Hill, with just disability leaders from across the country meeting with members of Congress and promoting the expanded use of structured settlements. We've built and maintained a very strong relationship with the American Association for Justice, the American Council of Life Insurers, and the National Disability Council, and others. Why do we do this? We do it because our friends speak loudly and effectively about us. It helps persuade members of Congress and staffers to maintain their support for structured settlements. I'm very proud of these partnerships. They've become great friends, great allies, and we do count on them on almost a daily basis. This year also saw an opportunity for us to address significant judicial education lapses around the country. Our own Debbie Sink was selected to help provide the South Carolina judiciary with a comprehensive judicial education program focused on factoring and factoring transactions after a McClatchy news service reporting uncovered terrible abuses in the state of South Carolina. That program was delivered, secured for all the judges in the state of South Carolina, and something we're going to replicate around the country. The South Carolina Judicial Education Program helped us lead to some new anti-factoring legislation in the state of South Carolina. And for the first time, South Carolina enjoys language in its SSPA that's as strong as any other state in the country. A fabulous amount of work. Our general counsel, especially Ingrid Hopkinson and Susan Staus, worked so hard to get that done, and it was passed virtually unanimously in South Carolina. Just to the north, North Carolina saw a range of activities all designed to weaken the North Carolina SSPA amendments. Our own Tacker LaCarpentier fought a major and effective and ultimately victorious battle, and I mean that sincerely, Tacker, to beat back those people in North Carolina who wanted to weaken the SSPA. We may not have ever seen the end of this fight, but we certainly saw the end of the effort here in 2023. Thanks to Tacker and so many others in North Carolina that rose to the occasion. There was an issue involving housing, and it's referred to by an acronym HOTMA, was the Housing Opportunity Through Modernization Act. In 2019, yes, 3 years ago, NSSTA and AAPD submitted a statement to the Federal Housing Urban Development Authority and asked that they lift the income exclusion or provide income, for those people that have received a structured settlement. So they're not deemed ineligible for housing subsidies under those programs. We were successful in getting that completed and done. And it's a major accomplishment for our industry and the people that we work with. We filed a brief with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau to talk about abusive practices that occur when people with structured settlements are hounded into selling those future payments by factoring companies. It was a fabulous comment and statement. It ended up being posted on the bulletin board for the National Consumers League and many of our other allies. This is also the year that our DEIB committee, this diversity, equality, inclusion, and belonging, chaired by Patty Nelson and Bijan Sirvani, to develop a new structured settlement industry statement that NASTA and its members are committed to removing barriers and increasing access to participation in the structured settlements industry. Effectively, we're going to achieve these goals by advocating for policies and resources to support participation in the structured settlements industry, creating and supporting programs dedicated to understanding a diversity of views and cultures, and providing regular training to NASTA members on topics around diversity, equality, equity, inclusion, and belonging. This year, we did something that we've probably talked about for 20 years, but we did it. And we did it because of 4 bright, young leaders in our industry. We established a new next-gen committee. It's a group created to foster younger brokers, grow the industry, and maintain relevance in the industry, in structured settlement industry planning. I want to call out Aaron Hickey with Brandt Hickey, Connor Kennedy with Ringler, Fontaine Bergen with Atlas Settlements, and Aaron Jesberger with Arcadia. These 4 young leaders took it upon themselves to organize this committee. They've already scheduled several meetings and an agenda that's quite frankly exciting, interesting, and worthy of this industry. Congratulations for getting this started. We're all going to learn a great deal from the 4 of you and the rest of your committee. I can't say enough, and so I won't even try to talk about the fabulous NASTA Women's Caucus. It grows every month in terms of participation and activity and interest. It's not just for women, but it's focused on women. The Women's Caucus has made it clear that there are issues important to the women in our industry that need discussion, to be open, to be fair, and be able to have those discussions within a space that feels comfortable, confident, and professionally supportive. They've done a fabulous job of putting together programming, information, and activities. And I congratulate Christine Logan and Aaron Eddy, the 2 co-chairs right now, and especially Paula Rubenstein, who seems to be the heart and soul and little engine that makes that caucus work. Congratulations on another year well done and services exceptionally well provided. NASTA has a couple of key critical missions, and one of them, maybe the most critical internally, is education and our own NASTA University. This past year, Debbie Sink has worked with almost 300 of our members to produce hundreds of lunch and learns programs directly available to their clients on a basis where Debbie will establish the NASTA University CE credits. The individual members produce the content, and it is a way of explaining, enhancing, and educating about structured settlements with people all across the country. This past year, we offered up and produced an annual meeting in Torrey Pines that was fabulous. It was great to see so many faces come back to in-person meeting. We hosted the Structured Settlements 101, 202 in Las Vegas. And I have to tell you, I was there for the 3 days. There were about 75, 85 brand new people I've never seen before in our industry come to the 101 and 202. It was a fabulous event. Our fall educational meeting was virtual. Roger Green, maybe the highlight for me, maybe the whole year, talking about his son, Kyle. And how 24 years ago, Kyle was in a serious accident. They didn't think Kyle was going to make it through the evening at the hospital. And he has made it. But he's made it because of the structured settlement that he was able to negotiate. His father's leadership and care has gotten Kyle all the way through all of that. Kyle is a great success story, if you will, in our industry. Roger Green is an absolute gem when it comes to talking about the value, importance, and significance of structured settlements. We also did some webinars, ethics, anti-fraud, and ethical and cultural awareness, widely attended and valuable for all of our members. The CSSC program and the committee, they've been working all 2023 to get ready for the 2024 CSSC and MSSC programs that are going to be offered at the University of Texas, March 4th and 7th, 2024. If you haven't signed up for this program in the past, make this the time you do so. If you have attended CSSC in the program, the new CSSC program is not your grandfather's CSSC program. This is a new, exciting, enthusiastic program. You owe it to yourself to check it out and participate if you have the opportunity. Our NASTA member forums are back, and those have been great, one in New York and one in Dallas. And with our NASTA board of directors, we have 4 NASTA member forums scheduled in 2024. This year started out for me on Capitol Hill in the House of Representatives. I was in the gallery at the House for 5 straight days and 16 straight votes, while the new Republican leaders in Congress and leadership in Congress working out, trying to settle on who would be their speaker for the 118th Congress. It was an inauspicious beginning for the Republicans in Congress. They have since gotten their act together. But the man they selected to be House Speaker was none other than Kevin McCarthy, who in 7 days will be a former member of Congress. He's leaving halfway through this term of office. The new Speaker of the House is Mike Johnson, and I've already had a chance to meet with the new Speaker and talk to him about structured settlements. He's familiar with structured settlements, not entirely enthusiastic just yet, but he asked me who else in his caucus was supporting structured settlements. And I could say with incredible confidence and enthusiasm, you know me, Congressman Jason Smith, chairman of the new House Ways and Means Committee. Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, nodded, and he said, you can't have a more powerful ally in Congress than Congressman Jason Smith. How did we do that, though? Congress, 87 newly elected members of Congress. The House flipped from Democrats to Republicans. There are 20 new members in the House Ways and Means Committee. That was a gargantuan, difficult challenge for our industry. What did we do? We responded the way this industry always does, with confidence and a program worthy of our industry. It was called 2 Days to Make a Difference. 45 structured settlement industry leaders traveled to Washington, D.C. to meet with members of Congress on Capitol Hill to highlight the value and the importance of structured settlements for seriously injured people. For 2 days and nights, yeah, we had a lot of dinners. We met with 35 members of Congress, 14 members in the Ways and Means Committee, the chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee, and the chairman of the Senate Finance Committee. It was a fabulous effort bringing our industry together, defense consultants, plaintiff consultants, insurance industry leaders. It was fabulous. We're going to do it again, and we're going to make sure we have the same impact. But one thing I want to make sure you understand about Congressman Jason Smith, chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee. We hosted a breakfast with the chairman at the Capitol Hill Club. All of our members were there. And when Congressman Smith walked in, he didn't have a smile on his face. He didn't seem relaxed. He was also not very knowledgeable about structured settlements. 1 hour and 21 minutes later, he had a smile on his face. He was taking pictures with our members. He was chatting it up with Carrie Poe, talking about workers' compensation. And his chief of staff leaned over to me and said, "You guys did a great job. You just created a friend for life in Chairman Jason Smith." That's the value of coming to Washington, getting involved, and being engaged in the political process. I'm going to close with this because it's a message about our PAC. NSSTA PAC is the political voice of the structured settlements industry. I can't do my job on Capitol Hill, the political side of my job, without the support of the PAC. We don't have enough participation. 135, 145 of our members contribute to the PAC. That's 28% of our members. And Matt Ross will correct me, I'm sure, about that. But the reality is, you should all be supporting your PAC. It doesn't mean $100 a month. It can be $10 a month. Support your PAC. It is an investment in your future. If we can make a champion for structured settlements out of Jason Smith by going to a political event of his, isn't that worth it? Of course it is. I need your support on Capitol Hill to come to meetings. I also need your political support for our PAC to make those events meaningful, valuable, and ultimately constructive for industry. I love working with the structured settlements industry. I really have enjoyed the NSSTA Board of Directors under Nolan Robinson's leadership. He's done a fabulous job. Carrie Poe is going to be the first woman elected to the NSSTA presidency in almost 15 years, and the third woman in our industry's history to serve as president after Nolan's term. It's a great group of members to work with on the board of directors. Our NSSTA council has been spectacular, but there's one person I want to hold out as the person. She is our champion every day, all day, and that's Debbie Sink. Without Debbie, we would not have a NSSTA Industry Association. We would not have NSSTA University. We would never have secured the judicial education program delivery requirements necessary by the states. We wouldn't have so much without Debbie. If you have a chance this holiday season and you're making comments, wishes, happy Christmas, happy Hanukkah, drop Debbie a note, dsink@nsssta.com, and tell her how much you appreciate her. I appreciate her every day. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful holiday season. Be safe, and let's get together here in Washington, D.C. in 2024 to continue to make the structured settlements industry and NSSTA the voice of our industry, the voice of people who need a voice on Capitol Hill, all of the people that you work with every day. Thanks very much.